Take a trip with me, guys. Let's go for a walk in Fort Morgan, Colorado. This is Fort Morgan, Colorado. Population 11,835 people. Elevation is 4,255 feet. So it's still up there. This is Colorado. Everything's kind of a high altitude here. So it's a little bit different. It's kind of a trip. It's at 4,200 feet. I was in, what was it, Leavenworth, Washington. It's in the mountains there, and it was like at 1,200. And this is more on the plains. Let's just tell you how high the elevation is in Colorado. So I stayed at Jackson Lake State Park here, not too far away, say about 25-30 minutes away. Stayed there. I took my pop-up camper there and hung out there. I really just wanted to park there. Basically, I just slept there, hung out in the later afternoon, and spent both of my days in Fort Morgan. This restaurant right here, I think it's called Cable's. I would ultimately come back here and have brunch, or actually more of a dinner there. Had a nice burger and stuff like that. It was really cool walking around the downtown. The day before, I went to some other places, but I said, you know what, let me get out of the car, because I found downtown, and if you don't look for downtown in some of these places, you might be a little disappointed. And I found it, and I was like, oh, it's cute, let's go check it out. And I started walking around. Fort Morgan's a little bit different. While I was sitting down there eating, I noticed a lot of African Americans are people from Africa, and you got to remember, this is out on the plains. This is still a little small city of like 11,000 people. So I had to look it up and found out like 13.5% of the population here, which is fairly large for these type of communities out on the plains, was black or African American. And the reason being, there was a lot of East Africans who settled here for meat packing. So they needed a lot of people to come in here and work the meat packing jobs. And there are meat packing facilities around here. So yeah, it was a trip to see, and because a lot of times you don't see that in these small communities, like people in their traditional attire and stuff walking around, and there was a lot of people. And so anyway, I looked it up, and I was kind of curious to see that, and that was different. So Fort Morgan is a very diverse smaller community. What I mean is small city of 10,000-11,000 people. It's very diverse. Also, they have a Walmart. If you didn't know. So yeah, they have a Walmart here. There's Morgan Community Colleges here. They actually ordered 325 degrees rewarded in 2023. I would walk around here. It was very green here, very peaceful, clean. It's a blue collar town. You can clearly tell. When I was downtown, there were some announcements being made. I just couldn't really hear them that well, but like it was like alarms going off and stuff. I'm walking around, and while I'm walking, I was like, please let there be a coffee shop or something. I know they got to have one. So as I'm walking around, I see a bookstore, and then it says coffee too. First I had to stop. I said, wait, is there coffee here, or is it next door? And then it's coffee here. It reminded me of this place when I was in Washington, Anna Cortez, whatever they call it. Someone wanted to correct me on some dude. I don't live there. But it reminded me of the shop in that cute little city in Washington State that I did a video on. Anyway, I went in there. It was cool. Had a lot of books. I got me a nice coffee. It was a pretty good latte. It was good. And the best thing about smaller towns, the prices were fair. In small cities, it wasn't like I was in Colorado. In Denver, and it was like, $12, and I got a small coffee, and they want a 20% tip, But the coffee was good. We're walking around. This is a fall day. I have nothing in mind here. I'm just walking around. Ultimately, I would stop and I would go to the Goodwill and I'd pick up a couple things. I've gotten into this habit. I love going to thrift stores, and especially smaller communities. I think they have a lot more interesting stuff. So yeah, I like going to these thrift stores or pawn shops. I didn't find any pawn shops, but I found a thrift store. So I grabbed a couple items I needed that were at really great prices. And then went to like a Dollar Tree. I always end up at a Dollar Tree or a Family Dollar. I just do. I get my snacks. So the plan, what I've done these last 2 weeks on my trips with my camper is, and I kind of like doing it this way, I don't necessarily cook when I'm at state parks. So I get like breakfast stuff, and I'll cook breakfast, and then I head into town. And then I'll have a nice big lunch/dinner, and then I come back and maybe I'll do some snacking, ride my bike back at the state park as it gets closer to dark, usually, is what I do. Now, after the first night at Jackson State Park is very buggy. Like I use citronella incense, citronella candles, spray, everything. There's just way too many bugs out there, honestly, for my taste. So I literally spent most of my day the next day in Fort Morgan. The first day I got there kind of later because I didn't really know what I was doing. I went to Santiago's for Mexican food. It was for dinner. But then the next day, after all the bugs and making me have to stay in a pop-up camper. I decided, you know what, we're not hanging out here today. And plus, I couldn't ride my bike that much there, so it was kind of lame. But I did throw my scooter in here, and after I would get done walking, excuse me, based on burning off calories and stuff, and just walking around getting my steps in as well. There's the fire department right there. I would hop on my scooter and I would just ride around the town, and they had some super cute houses. You know, I tell people, go to small towns, don't knock them. I see a little too much online, especially. I try not to read comment sections, but people like create this separation between urban areas and rural areas, and you know, each one of them talk about each other. And I'm like, man, you guys got to travel. If you really traveled, people wouldn't be so ignorant about their neighbors going places. Did I think this place was cute? Yes. Will I come back in the future? Probably not. And it's not that there's anything wrong with here. Don't take it that way. It's that there's nothing in connection for me to come to here. Like, what I mean by that is, like, okay, I would come here, hang out, and then go somewhere else. So spend a night here and then go somewhere else. But I don't usually go east. I usually go west, if that makes sense to you. So I may go to Lathrop State Park, which ain't my favorite either, but it's centrally located where I can be to Alamosa pretty quick. I can be to Salida. I can be to all these other places, the sand dunes, fairly quick. You know, that thing. It has nothing to do with Fort Morgan. There's just not much for me to check out here. That if Fort Morgan was where what would it be, Walsenburg was, then I'd be here all the time as well. But it's just how it is. So it's not that this is a bad place. I think it's a very nice community. I think it's clean. Looks safe. I know they got their petty crime. They got crime. Every place has crime, but it doesn't look like Denver. You know, you go to some parts of Denver, you're like, holy moly. Come on, guys. Clean it up. It's not even close to that. These are just regular old folks here that work in jobs, you know, living life, raising families, you know, growing old like hopefully we all get to do. So anyway, we're just walking around. It was kind of hot out here, by the way, and I was wearing a black shirt. But I just want to don't take that the wrong way. Like, I won't come back. And I'm saying that I'll probably end up being back to Fort Morgan. I might discover something else and be in the area again. It's not that I think this place is lousy. No, it's not a jump off point for other places, if that makes sense to people. That's like Eugene. I end up in Eugene all the time when I'm in Oregon. I'm about to say Portland. In Oregon, because it was close to Florence. So it would take me 40 minutes to get to the beach, you know, so it was a big deal at that point. Now I know areas better. I know where to go and stuff. Check out that mural right there. That's really cool. Welcome to Fort Morgan. And they call the Oasis Oasis on the Plains, and I believe it. It's not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be real deserty and everything, and I got here and it's nice. It was really nice. I was so glad I came here. I'm glad I went to Jackson Lake State Park just to know I probably won't be back unless it's cold, so the bugs are gone. I would come back when it's colder, when the bugs are gone, and hang out. But I was glad I went there so I could check out Fort Morgan. And I'm glad I decided to go to Fort Morgan instead of backtracking and hang out in Greeley. And I've been to Greeley a ton of times. And the only reason I wouldn't go back, didn't want to go to Greeley this time, which saved me so I got to see Fort Morgan and see it was a pretty awesome little city, was that I'm going to be there the next week because my son's birthday's coming up and he wants to go to this barbecue place we went to a year or so ago for his birthday. That's in Greeley. So we'll do some stuff in Greeley while we're up there for his birthday. So that's the only reason I didn't go there and hang out. I did stop at the Walmart there because I didn't realize they had a Walmart in Fort Morgan until the next day. And I'm turning into a Walmart person. Like, when I go to these smaller communities, I go there and I'm a clearance section person. So I look for the clearance aisle. And some people out there, you know what I'm talking about too. There's that clearance aisle. What do they got in their clearance aisle? I end up there. But anyway, so I'm glad that his birthday was coming up for that, so I didn't end up just backtracking and hang out in Greeley the whole time and never coming to Fort Morgan because it's the opposite way. So I got to come here. I realized how cool it was. I realized it's really quaint. It's really cute. They got jobs out here, and it's still affordable in comparison to places like Denver and, say, Colorado Springs. So you can. These are the places where you can come raise your kids, work what they call an honest day's work, and get an honest day's pay and have a decent life. Be able to, if you work hard enough, you know, have a house. And you can have all that in Denver and stuff like that as well. But you got to have, like, like me or people like me, like degrees or be a plumber or something like that. Out here, you can go work at a factory or a plant and work hard, do your job, move up, and ultimately be able to afford a little piece of land, a nice little house. Your kids can go to school, and they can be raised with other kids in the community and stuff, and literally grow up together and have like these lifelong friends. Versus where I live, where a lot of the kids, when my kids were growing up, are just transplants. They're here for a little bit and then they move on back to wherever they're from or go somewhere else. And that's just how it is. We got 5 houses up for sale in my neighborhood as people's kids are grown and they're getting ready to take off. It's like not how, say, I grew up in California or Indiana, where I could go back to where I'm from in Indiana and literally go to my friends' parents' houses if I don't know where my friends live, and knock on the door and they see me and, hey, how you doing? Where's David live? Oh, David moved over to such and such, Elkhart or whatever. Oh yeah, here's his address. But they're still in the same houses. The areas where, like, I live in the Denver metro area, people, they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're there for the schools or whatever. These are those type of neighborhoods. I mean, these type of communities where you can raise your kids. Your kids can have lifelong friends. You can have a decent life. You can own a house. You can have a nice little truck. I say a truck because a lot of people have trucks out here. Where I grew up, a lot of people had trucks and classic cars. And you can have that. And you can have just a decent life. Is it super exciting out here? No, it's not. You have to take up hobbies, hunting, fishing, outdoor sports, stuff like that. This park we're getting ready to go to in not too long, I found just randomly. I can't think of the name of it. I took a picture of the name of. I think it's Camden Park. Maybe I got it right. Maybe not. But anyway, it's like I went there. One of the things, I saw so many people out playing frisbee golf, and frisbee golf's been out for a while, but here I saw lots of people playing it, like lots of groups of people out playing it as I was walking around the trail trying to burn some more calories because I'd ate a pretty big sized burger. As you can see, we're just walking. It's getting kind of hot out here. I'm going to ultimately end up walking back to my car or my SUV and pulling out my scooter and ripping and zipping around. I have to be mindful in small communities too. You don't see 100 people out here on e-bikes like you'd see in, Denver, with half of them being homeless folks anymore. Did I tell you guys the story anymore? Back in the day, about 5 years ago, when I started doing the e-bike videos and riding them in places, people would stop you and talk with you and everything, or give you the old, as you ride past them, that's cheating, all that. Nowadays, because they had these programs out where they gave them away free to people that were low income, everybody and their mother has one. So what happens is I need to dress up and I wear a helmet. So when I'm in random places, Optimus Park, I think may have been the name of it. No, that was just a place I was riding around. But I dress up and wear a helmet, so when I'm riding through people's neighborhood, they don't think I'm a homeless guy flying through looking in case there's still something out of their yard nowadays. So it can't be like the other, because back in the day, you had an e-bike, you had to have a little bit of money. They cost like $1,000, $2,000. So anyway, we're walking around. That was the name of the park back there. And we're just walking along around this. I don't have a lot of videos of people, but there's tons of frisbee golf stops for people to play frisbee golf. So all around here there was lots of people playing. And the name of this park is Riverside Park. And I didn't walk here. I drove my car here, my SUV here, and parked and saw a trail, and I could see a lot of people. It reminded me of, I think it was City Park in Pueblo. It doesn't look the same, but the little bit of a loop, kind of like on a miniature size, reminded me of that, where some people come on their lunch break and just chill out and eat their food in the car under the shade of the trees and stuff like that. Should you visit Fort Morgan? Oh yeah, go check it out. I have nothing bad to say about this place. I thought it was nice. I thought it was very family orientated. Nice little downtown. I thought it was chill. Go check out Fort Morgan, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.